Welcome to SWAKMPS. Thank you for joining today. Hope you all are doing well. Before starting, we would request all to please like, share, comment and especially subscribe my channel for more videos. That means a lot. Press bell icon to get notification of our videos. Don't miss any videos. So here we start the video.
An asana is a body posture, originally sitting for meditation, and later in hatha yoga and modern yoga, including reclining, standing, inverted, twisting, or balancing as well as seated poses. The 5th century BC Yoga Sutras of Patanjali define asana as to be seated in a position that is steady but relaxed. Patanjali mentions the ability to sit for extended periods as one of the 8 limbs of his system. The 10th or 11th century Goraksha Sataka and the 15th century Hatha Yoga Pradipika assert that there are 84 asana. The 17th century Hatha Ratnavali provides a list of 84 asana, describing some of them. In the 20th century, Tirumalai Krishnamacharya taught a new system of asana, incorporating systems of exercises as well as traditional hatha yoga, to influential Indian yoga teachers including Patapi Jois, founder of Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, and BKS Iyengar, founder of Iyengar Yoga. Together they described hundreds more asana, revived the popularity of yoga, and brought it to the Western world. Many more asana have been devised since Iyengar's 1966 Light on Yoga, which described some 200 asana. Some 300 were created by Dharma Mitra. Asana have been claimed to have beneficial effects in terms of flexibility, strength, and balance, to reduce stress and conditions related to it, and to have specific benefits for some diseases such as asthma and diabetes. Etymology. Asana is derived from Sanskrit, asana, sitting down, from asa as to sit down, a sitting posture, a seat. The word was first used in English to mean a yoga posture in 1834. Context. Yoga originated in India. In his Yoga Sutras, Patanjali describes asana practice as the third of the 8 limbs, Sanskrit ashtanga, from asht, 8, and anga, limb, of classical, or Raja Yoga. The 8 limbs are, in order, the yamas, codes of social conduct, niyamas, self-observances, asana, postures, pranayama, breath work, pratyahara, sense withdrawal or non-attachment, dharana, concentration, dhyana, meditation, and samadhi, realization of the true self or Atman, and unity with Brahman, the Hindu concept of ultimate reality. Asana are the physical movements of yoga practice and, in combination with the breathing exercises of pranayama, constitute hatha yoga. Patanjali describes asana as a steady and comfortable posture, referring to the seated postures used for pranayama and for meditation. He further states that meditation is the path to samadhi, transpersonal self-realization. History. Ancient. The central figure in the Pashupati seal from the Indus Valley civilization of c. 2500 BC appears to be sitting in Mulabandhasana, a pose said to confer enlightenment, and hence identified as a prototype of the god Shiva. If correct, this would be easily the oldest record of an asana. However, with no proof anywhere of an Indus Valley origin for Shiva, there is no evidence that a yoga pose is depicted in the seal. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, 4th–2nd century BC, do not mention a single asana by name, merely specifying the characteristics of a good asana. Topic: 10th to 17th centuries. The Goraksha Sataka 10 to 11th century, or Goraksha Padathi, an early Hatha yogic text, describes the origin of the 84 classic asana said to have been revealed by the Hindu deity Lord Shiva. Observing that there are as many postures as there are beings and asserting that there are 84 lakh or 8,400,000 species in all, the text states that Lord Shiva fashioned an asana for each lakh, thus giving 84 in all, although it mentions and describes only 2 in detail, Siddhasana and Padmasana. The number 84 is symbolic rather than literal, indicating completeness and sacredness. The Hatha Yoga Pradipika 15th century specifies that of these 84, the first 4 are important, namely the seated poses Siddhasana, Padmasana, Bhadrasana and Simhasana. The Hatha Ratnavali by Srinivasa 17th century is one of the few texts to attempt a listing of all the 84. Although 4 out of its list do not have meaningful translations from the Sanskrit, and at least 11 are merely mentioned without any description but are described in other texts. In all, 52 asana of the Hatha Ratnavali are confirmed and described by the text itself, or other asana corpora. The Garanda Samhita late 17th century again asserts that Shiva taught 84 lakh of asana, out of which 84 are preeminent, and 32 are useful in the world of mortals. The yoga teacher and scholar Mark Singleton notes from study of the primary texts that asana was rarely, if ever, the primary feature of the significant yoga traditions in India. 19th century onwards. From the 1850s onwards, there developed in India a culture of physical exercise to counter the colonial stereotype of supposed degeneracy of Indians compared to the British, a belief reinforced by then current ideas of Lamarckism and eugenics. This culture was taken up from the 1880s to the early 20th century by Indian nationalists such as Taruka, who taught exercises and unarmed combat techniques under the guise of yoga. Meanwhile, proponents of Indian physical culture like K.V. Iyer consciously combined Hatha Yoga with bodybuilding in his Bangalore gymnasium. Singleton notes that poses much like Durvasasana, Ganda Bhairundasana and Hanumanasana were found in Thomas Dwight's 1889 article Anatomy of a Contortionist, while poses close to warrior pose, downward dog, Uttita Padangustasana, Supta Virasana and others were described in Niels Buck's 1924 Danish text Grundgymnastik eller primitive gymnastic, known in English as primary gymnastics. These in turn were derived from a 19th-century Scandinavian tradition of gymnastics dating back to Per Ling, and found their way to India by the early 20th century. In 1924, Swami Kuvalayananda founded the Kaivalyadharma Health and Yoga Research Centre in Maharashtra. He combined asana with Indian systems of exercise and modern European gymnastics, having, according to the scholar Joseph Alter, a profound effect on the evolution of yoga. In 1925, Paramahansa Yogananda, having moved from India to America, set up the Self-Realization Fellowship in Los Angeles, and taught yoga, including asana, breathing, chanting and meditation, to tens of thousands of Americans. Tirumalai Krishnamacharya (1888–1989) studied under Kuvalayananda in the 1930s. Creating a marriage of hatha yoga, wrestling exercises, and modern Western gymnastic movement, and unlike anything seen before in the yoga tradition, Krishnamacharya is described as the father of modern yoga, and had among his pupils men who became influential yoga teachers themselves, the Russian Eugenie V. Peterson, known as Indra Devi, Patapi Jois, who founded Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga in 1948, B.K.S. Iyengar, his brother-in-law, who founded Iyengar Yoga, T.K.V. Desikachar, his son, who continued his Vinayoga tradition, Srivatsa Ramaswamy, and A.G. Mohan, co-founder of Svasthar Yoga and Ayurveda. Together they revived the popularity of yoga and brought it to the Western world. In 1959, Vishnudevananda Saraswati published a compilation of 66 basic postures and 136 variations of those postures. In 1966, Iyengar published Light on Yoga, Yoga Dipika, illustrated with some 600 photographs of Iyengar demonstrating around 200 asana. It systematized the physical practice of asana. It became a bestseller, selling 3 million copies, and was translated into some 17 languages. In 1984, Dharma Mitra compiled a list of about 1,300 asana and their variations, derived from ancient and modern sources. His work is often mentioned in contemporary references for Iyengar Yoga, Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, and Sivananda Yoga. Origins of the asana. The asana have been created at different times, a few being ancient. Some that appear traditional, such as Virabhadrasana I, warrior pose I, are relatively recent. That pose was probably devised by Krishnamacharya around 1940, and it was popularized by his pupil, Iyengar. A pose that can be dated fairly accurately is Parivrita Parsvakonasana, revolved side-angle pose. It was not in the first edition of Patapi Jois's Yoga Mala in 1962. Viparita Virabhadrasana, reversed warrior pose, is still more recent, and may have been created as recently as 2000. Several poses that are now commonly practiced, such as dog pose and standing asana including the warrior poses, are not found in classical texts such as Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Surya Namaskar, salute to the sun, originated in the 20th century. A different salute to the sun, the Aditya Hridayam, is certainly ancient, described in the Yudhakanda, Canto 107 of the Ramayana. Surya Namaskar in its modern form was created by the Raja of Aundh, Pant Pratanidhi. K. Patapi Joys defined the variant forms Surya Namaskar A and B for Ashtanga Yoga, possibly derived from Krishnamacharya. Surya Namaskar can be seen as a modern, physical culture-oriented rendition of the simple ancient practice of prostrating oneself to the sun. In 1966, Iyengar's classic Light on Yoga was able to describe some 200 asana. Mitra created some 300 asana out of the 908 illustrated in his 1984 Master Yoga chart, and many more poses have been created since then. The number of asana has thus increased with time, as summarized in the table. The graph shows the rapid growth in number of asana in the 20th century. Purposes. Spiritual. The asana of Hatha Yoga originally had a spiritual purpose within Hinduism, the attainment of samadhi, a state of meditative consciousness. Asana work in different ways from conventional physical exercises, according to Satyananda Saraswati, placing the physical body in positions that cultivate awareness, relaxation and concentration. Iyengar observed that the practice of asana brings steadiness, health, and lightness of limb. A steady and pleasant posture produces mental equilibrium and prevents fickleness of mind. He adds that they bring agility, balance, endurance, and great vitality, developing the body to a fine physique which is strong and elastic without being muscle-bound. But, Iyengar states, their real importance is the way they train the mind, conquering the body and making it a fit vehicle for the spirit. Iyengar saw it as significant that asana are named after plants, insects, fish and amphibians, reptiles, birds, and quadrupeds, as well as legendary heroes, sages, and avatars of Hindu gods, in his view, illustrating spiritual evolution. For instance, the lion pose, Simhasana, recalls the myth of Nrsimha, half man, half lion, and an avatar of Vishnu, as told in the Bhagavata Purana. The message is, Iyengar explains, that while performing asana, the yogi takes the form of different creatures, from the lowest to the highest, not despising any, for he knows that throughout the whole gamut of creation there breathes the same universal spirit. Through mastery of the asana, Iyengar states, dualities like gain and loss, or fame and shame disappear. Exercise. Since the mid-20th century, asana have been used, especially in the Western world, as physical exercise. In this context, their overtly Hindu purpose is masked, but its ecstatic, transcendent, possibly subversive elements remain. That context has led to a division of opinion among Christians, some like Alexandra Davis of the Evangelical Alliance asserting that it is acceptable as long as they are aware of yoga's origins, others like Paul Gosby stating that Hatha Yoga's purpose is to open up chakras and release kundalini or serpent power, which in Gosby's view is from Satan, making Christian yoga a contradiction. In a secular context, the journalists Nell Frizzell and Rennie Edo-Lodge have debated in The Guardian whether Western yoga classes represent cultural appropriation. In Frizzell's view, yoga has become a new entity, a long way from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and while some practitioners are culturally insensitive, others treat it with more respect. Edo-Lodge agrees that Western yoga is far from Patanjali, but argues that the changes cannot be undone, whether people use it as a holier-than-thou tool, as a tactic to balance out excessive drug use, or practiced similarly to its origins with the spirituality that comes with it. From a Hindu perspective, the practice of asana in the Western world as physical exercise is not necessarily seen as problematic, as long as the practice of asana in this way is not confused with yoga as a path. Benefits and contraindications. Claimed benefits. The asana of hatha yoga have been popularized in the Western world by claims about their health benefits. The history of such claims was reviewed by William J. Broad in his 2012 book The Science of Yoga. Broad argues that while the health claims for yoga began as Hindu nationalist posturing, it turns out that there is ironically a wealth of real benefits. Physically, the practice of asana has been claimed to improve flexibility, strength, and balance, to alleviate stress and anxiety, and to reduce the symptoms of lower back pain. Claims have been made about beneficial effects on specific conditions such as asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and diabetes. There is evidence that practice of asana improves birth outcomes and physical health and quality of life measures in the elderly, and reduces sleep disturbances and hypertension. Iyengar yoga is effective at least in the short term for both neck pain and low back pain. Contraindications. Light on Yoga cautions that people with high blood pressure or displaced retina should avoid inverted poses such as Sirsasana and Sarvangasana. It also cautions that women should avoid asana, especially inverted poses such as Sirsasana, during menstruation and the first month after giving birth. It states that they may practice asana during the first 3 months of pregnancy, avoiding pressure on the abdomen, and that they may practice Baddha Konasana and Upavastha Konasana throughout pregnancy. The Yoga Journal provides separate lists of asana that it states are inadvisable and should be avoided or modified for each of the following medical conditions: asthma, back injury, carpal tunnel syndrome, diarrhea, headache, heart problems, high blood pressure, insomnia, knee injury, low blood pressure, menstruation, neck injury, pregnancy, and shoulder injury. Common practices. In the Yoga Sutras, the only rule Patanjali suggests for practicing asana is that it be steady and comfortable. The body is held poised with the practitioner experiencing no discomfort. When control of the body is mastered, practitioners are believed to free themselves from the duality of heat, cold, hunger, satiety, joy, grief, which is the first step toward the unattachment that relieves suffering. Traditional guidance. Light on Yoga provides the following guidance for performing asana. The stomach should be empty, or asana can be practiced an hour after a very light meal. The bladder and bowels should also be empty. A bath or shower before the asana makes them easier. The best time for asana is early in the morning or late in the evening. The breath should not be restrained during the asana. Some movements, such as jumping the legs apart for Trikonasana, are to be taken on an in-breath, some, such as bending the trunk sideways for Trikonasana, on an out-breath. Lie down in Savasana for 10 to 15 minutes after practicing asana. Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar, the salute to the sun, commonly practiced in most forms of yoga, links up to 12 asana in a dynamically expressed yoga series. A full round consists of 2 sets of the series, the second set moving the opposing leg first. The asana include Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog, the others differing from tradition to tradition, with for instance a choice of Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog, or Bhujangasana, cobra, for one pose in the sequence. Schools, too, differ in their approaches to the sequence. For example, in Iyengar yoga, variations such as inserting Marasayasana I and Paschimottanasana are suggested. Styles. In the Western world, asana are taught in differing styles by the various schools of yoga. Some poses like Trikonasana are common to many of them, but not always performed in the same way. The approaches of schools whose ways of executing the pose have been documented are described below. Iyengar Yoga emphasizes precision and alignment, and prioritizes correct movement over quantity, i.e. moving a little in the right direction is preferred to moving more but in other directions. Postures are held for a relatively long period compared to other schools of yoga. This allows the muscles to relax and lengthen, and encourages awareness in the pose. Props including belts, blocks and blankets are freely used to assist students in correct working in the asana. Beginners are introduced early on to standing poses, executed with careful attention to detail. For example, in Trikonasana, the feet are often jumped apart to a wide stance, the forward foot is turned out, and the center of the forward heel is exactly aligned with the center of the arch of the other foot. Sivananda Yoga practices the asana, Hatha Yoga, as part of Raja Yoga, with the goal of enabling practitioners to sit in meditation for a long time. There is little emphasis on the detail of individual poses. Teachers rely on the basic instructions given in the books by Sivananda and Swami Vishnu Devananda. In Trikonasana, the top arm may be stretched forward parallel to the floor rather than straight up. Sivananda Yoga identifies a group of 12 asana as basic. These are not necessarily the easiest poses, nor those that every class would include. Trikonasana is the last of the 12, whereas in other schools it is one of the first and used to loosen the hips in preparation for other poses. In Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, poses are executed differently from Iyengar Yoga. Vinyasa means flowing, and the poses are executed relatively rapidly, flowing continuously from one asana to the next using defined transitional movements. The asana are grouped into 6 series, 1 primary, 1 intermediate, and 4 advanced. Practice begins and ends with the chanting of mantras, followed by multiple cycles of the sun salutation, which forms the foundation of Ashtanga Yoga practice, and then one of the series. In Trikonasana, the feet are held closer together, the back foot is at right angles rather than turned in slightly, and the lower hand grasps the big toe of the forward foot, rather than reaching to the ground. Ashtanga Vinyasa practice emphasizes aspects of yoga other than asana, including drishti focus points, bandhas energy locks, and pranayama. Kripalu Yoga uses teachers from other asana traditions, focusing on mindfulness rather than using effort in the poses. Teachers may say, "Allow your arms to float up," rather than "Bring up your arms." The goal is to use the asana as a path of transformation. The approach is in 3 stages: firstly, instruction in body alignment and awareness of the breath during the pose; secondly, holding the pose long enough to observe unconscious patterns of tension in the body-mind; and thirdly, through deep concentration and total surrender, allowing oneself to be moved by prana. In Trikonasana, the teacher may direct pupils' attention to pressing down with the outer edge of the back foot, lifting the arch of the foot, and then experimenting with micro-movements, exploring where energy moves and how it feels. In Bikram Yoga, as developed by Bikram Chowdhury, there is a fixed sequence of 26 poses, in which Trikonasana is 9th, its task to focus on opening the hips. The Bikram version of Trikonasana resembles Parsvakonasana as executed in Ashtanga or Iyengar Yoga, since the forward leg is bent until the back of the leg is parallel to the floor. The position of the feet is seen as critically important, along with proper breathing and the distribution of weight, about 30% on the back foot, 70% on the front foot. Types of asana. Asana can be classified in different ways, which may overlap, for example, by the position of the head and feet standing, sitting, reclining, inverted, by whether balancing is required, or by the effect on the spine forward bend, back bend, twist, giving a set of asana types agreed by most authors. Mitra uses his own categories such as floor and supine poses. Yogapedia and Yoga Journal add hip opening, Rhodes, Yogapedia and Yoga Journal also add core strength. The table shows an example of each type of asana, with the title and date of the earliest document describing that asana. Gs.
Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe, like, share, and comment for more videos. Stay safe and stay connected.